The Los Angeles Lakers are bad. At the time of recording this, they are one game under 500, and seeing that they were a top 2 team in terms of title odds, there is clearly something wrong. While injuries and health and safety protocols have been an issue for the Lakers, I don't think it's an excuse because it's safe to say that most teams are dealing with the same thing. So we cannot sit here and blame the Lakers' struggles on that. And coming off an NBA championship just 2 seasons ago, the Lakers have seemed to fall off of a cliff. And somehow, with the additions of players like Carmelo Anthony and Russell Westbrook, they sit with a bottom 5 offense in the league. On paper, this squad should be one of the best teams in the NBA, yet they are fighting for a spot in the play-in tournament. And a lot of people are putting the blame on Russell Westbrook. And it has been pretty clear that Russ makes some questionable passes and shot selections in crucial late-game situations. But a lot of people try and counter that with the fact that he gets triple-doubles and that he's actually averaging about 28 and 8 so far this season, which are pretty good numbers. But when it comes to Russell Westbrook, it feels like we need to look past the statistics. Because year after year, the amazing stat lines don't translate to a winning basketball team. Whether it's in the playoffs or regular season, teams find a way to break down Russell Westbrook's game. While Russ at times has been very disappointing for the Lakers, we cannot sit here and blame Russell Westbrook for all of the Lakers' struggles. Anthony Davis has also performed well below expectation, putting up good numbers with 23 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 blocks a game. But like I said before, we need to look past the numbers. There have been countless times where Anthony Davis was just hanging around, spotting up at the three-point line, which doesn't seem like a good game plan because he's shooting a woeful 18% from beyond the arc. There's no excuse for Anthony Davis's offensive struggle and lack of competitiveness, but if we are being completely honest, Anthony Davis's struggles do stem from the same place as Russell Westbrook's: the lack of floor spacing with the Los Angeles Lakers. When you have a starting lineup that can consist of Russell Westbrook, Avery Bradley, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and DeAndre Jordan, I don't really know what you'd expect. Putting this lineup out there makes it very easy to guard. None of them being necessarily great shooters makes the floor spacing awful. And something that makes this a little more concerning for the Lakers is that they've had the easiest schedule in the league up until this point, and have one of the hardest for the remainder of the season. It gets especially problematic when you have a player like Russell Westbrook, someone who's ball dominant and basically useless without the ball in his hands, and LeBron James, someone who's equally as ball dominant and doesn't necessarily bring much to the table when playing off the ball. And since Russ can really only bring value with the ball, it can cause issues with the rest of the team, especially when LeBron James is on that team, because when is there ever a situation you'd rather have the ball in Russ's hands over LeBron James? Russ is a great player, but sometimes he just seems to play too fast and tries to do too much. It seems like he plays out of control at times, resulting in him averaging almost 5 turnovers a game. Combine that with his poor jump shooting and his bad defense this year, Russell Westbrook is not having a good season. If you just look at his stats, you might disagree. But if you watch the Lakers actually play, Russell Westbrook is arguably hurting the team. You can't even fully blame Russ because the Lakers give him the green light to play how he wants, do what he usually does, when that isn't going to work if you want to win a championship. Even when the Lakers play good basketball, it never lasts. There is no consistency in their play. And then you see teams like the Suns, Warriors, Heat, and even the Nets go through periods of time missing big players, yet they still play good basketball and they're still winning games. It is no secret that the Lakers need to make some changes, and trading Russ can maybe open things up, but at this point, I can't even see that happening. If Russ cannot be traded, then they need to make things work. And even if that means having Russ on the bench in crucial moments. With bad floor spacing on offense and a lot of ball watching on defense, there are times it really seems like the Lakers would be better off with Russell Westbrook on the bench. And I'm not going to sit here and act like Russell Westbrook is not a good basketball player and that the Lakers should bench him, but there are times where he'd just be better off on the bench. Russ and LeBron should play staggered minutes as much as possible, meaning when LeBron is on the floor, Russ is on the bench, and vice versa. Because Russ should be running the offense, and then LeBron should be running the offense. When they're on the court together, it gets confusing. Russ should not be running pick and rolls with DeAndre Jordan. How the hell do you expect a Russ DeAndre Jordan pick and roll to work? The only way I can see the Lakers having success with Russell Westbrook as their point guard is if he can change his play style. Still do Russell Westbrook things, but just don't force. And I think if Russ can find a comfortable groove, averaging 15, 6, and 8, while taking better shots, making better decisions, and limiting his turnovers, and actually being attentive on defense, I think the Lakers can absolutely make this team work. And that is a lot to ask, but a championship isn't easy to come by, and these are the things that need to be done. When AD comes back, I think it'll be best if the Lakers let LeBron and AD be the main guys while Russ complements their game. And that can lead to a very, very dangerous basketball team. I love Russell Westbrook, and he has done some amazing things in this league, but I think we can all agree how things are right now is not going to work. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the video out tremendously. But until next time, I'm out.